Welcome back to the Making Events Awesome live stream. I'm your host, Warwick Merry, CSP CVP. You've seen the flying goodness. It's all fabulous. I've been doing a few hybrid events of lately, and a couple of things have come up that I thought, you know what? I think people would care about this. Let's face it. Events, we seem to have more challenges than ever. So how do we make sure that we're doing it really well so people stay engaged? More importantly, people rebook with us for our next event and they then bring others along. We want to do it so well that people bring everyone else along. If you're joining me on Facebook, by the way, I see a few people have joined in. Please make sure that you go to this and open up a window, go to chat.restream.io/Facebook. That way, if you are to chat to me or say hello, and I welcome your questions and comments and observations, I will see who it is from rather than just random Facebook user. So please make sure that you do that. Now, I said that in the heading, 3 easy to implement ideas to make your hybrid event far more successful. I've actually got more than 3. I've got a few extra, just a few bonuses for you. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure your hybrid event is a success. Let's be honest. Some of these ideas you can apply to other non-hybrid events. I know, right? So let's start with the first one. The first one is all about QR codes. Now, a lot of speakers will use QR codes to use polling software or word clouds or to get input from every member of the audience. For those that are in the room, they can get their phone out and away they go. And for those online, they can either jump online on another screen or get their phone and join in. Here's the thing. People will go, here, quick, scan this QR code and then vote on this option and then come back to me. There's no time. There's no time to get people to actually, and because a lot of the people online, let's be honest, they've got it on a second screen, they're doing their emails and it's playing in the background. So you've got to give them a chance to actually respond to it. Now, not all of the delegates are doing that, but I would humbly suggest many are. So you've got to give them time. So what you can do is say, hey, in a couple of minutes time, I'm going to be getting your responses. I want you to vote now. Here's the QR code, blah, blah, blah. And for the next couple of slides, maybe put the QR code down the bottom corner and say to them, don't forget, you know, you got to vote. We're coming up soon, blah, blah, blah. So it gives them time to actually do it. It also gives people in the audience time to do it. In a couple of recent ones where speakers have been asking for this input, they're not clear about it. And so people online are just putting it in the chat. So they're voting in straight into the chat. Now, as the host, I can't sort of scream out at the speaker. It's less than professional. So make sure there's absolute clarity in what you're doing them and give them time to do it. QR codes are brilliant because since the pandemic, we all know how to use a QR code. So use that to stay in touch with people. It's just make sure that you have enough time to respond. Another thing that's really important to do is have someone use the chat. I know it seems obvious, but there's so many events where it just doesn't happen. Either it's an online event or a hybrid event, and there's not a person involved in chatting to the people out there. Because the chat is a great way to keep engaged. If you're a kind of person who's not interested in the chat, you won't care. You'll just watch the video or listen along. But if you're the kind of person who likes to have a bit of a chat as they go, having someone in the chat making comments, sometimes it's a humorous observation, sometimes it's a value-add comment, maybe it's prompting the audience to ask. I know recently when I was hosting an event, I made sure that we had a chat station set up so I could just be whacking questions in to get that extra response. What it meant was the people online were more engaged. They felt more part of it. And that's a big thing that we really want to make sure that we can do. Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. I've got a few more people who have jumped on. Yay. We're going through what are some of the things that we can do to make people more engaged and get more buy-in for hybrid ideas. The first one was QR codes. Make sure that the respondents have got plenty of time to respond. So set it up for it. The second one is use the chat or have someone delegate to use the chat to engage more. Here's the third one, and that is do whatever you can. If you're a speaker, do whatever you can to make sure the tech crew are a success. Here's the thing. The tech crew will either have a leaning towards Mac or PC. Recently at an event, I had a couple of speakers who were very much Mac speakers, and the tech were very much PC people. And so there was a few things missing. They didn't have all the dongles they could have had. You know, they didn't have the right setup. So the tech rehearsal was a bit of a last minute rush. If you are a speaker and you know you like a Mac, bring all your dongles, bring them all, bring everything you're ever going to need. Because nowadays, using stuff like NDI, you can connect to the Ethernet and present over Ethernet. So, bring the dongle that has your Ethernet connection as well as your USB connection, both USB-C and USB-A, like bring everything you got. It's just a dongle. You can never guarantee. Now, there's a few speakers, but they should. They're the AV crew. Yeah, but they do everything they can, and they're usually really, really good, but they don't have everything. If you have a particular setup, bring your stuff. Also, make sure that not make sure, but if you are choosing, I would choose a common technology. And you're right, Margaret, the PCO should have a lot of the tech stuff sorted, but don't count on it. The day you count on it is the day they don't. That's just, it's sod's law. It's what happens. And I would encourage you to consider using tech that's very general. PowerPoint's very common. Less common is Keynote. Google Slides is pretty good because all you really need is a browser for it. So I know for me, I try and be platform independent. I try and use some software that can be used on all platforms. So that's worth sort of considering. And so at a recent event, someone was using Google Slides and had some really good slides because again, it takes time to learn it, but it's worth looking at. Now, another thing you might offer, I know I said there's 3 easy ideas, and there's the 3, the QR code timing, the chat to engage, and having your tech set up. Here's a couple of bonus ones. For your online crew, because what happens is the 2 audiences will go their own way. And so the online people go, oh, they're ignoring us, or the face-to-face people go, oh, they're ignoring us. So do something special for each. I'd humbly suggest that during one of the meal breaks or maybe a lunch break, have a private Q&A that's only for the online people. It's not going to take much to get one of your speakers. You've already got the camera and tech set up. Maybe just spin the camera around to the AV desk and just have a one-on-one conversation with, a chat box there. So it is a beautiful Q&A just for the people who are joining online. Show a bit of extra love to them so that they've got that there. Because it's more than easy for the face-to-face people to have a chat to them. So you just consider that. The 5th thing that I'm going to offer you today is just consider how you're broadcasting it. A lot of hybrid events, typically what they're doing, they're just broadcasting TV. They're basically going, we're going to run an event, we're going to shove a camera here, and we're just going to throw it down the pipe for people to watch along. And that can be an effective thing to do. People get to watch it. It's more effective, in my humble opinion, to do what I call two-way TV. And that is where you are doing the Q&A, you are doing the chat, you are actively seeking to engage and getting them to be part of the event and not just subject to it. Be really clear which one you're doing. Because if you start with one and blend to another, it's going to get messy. So either broadcast or two-way TV. They're your choices, in my humble opinion. All right, so there you go. There's actually 5 cool things you can do for hybrid. Number 1, allow a lot more time for your QR code responses and set it up as a speaker to be able to get it. Number 2, make sure you got someone who's delegated to the chat functioning so that there is some great chat action going on. Number 3, get your tech. Bring all the tech you want with you and look at doing simplified, standardized tech. Number 4, do some private Q&A stuff for the people who are online. Make them feel a bit special. And number 5, really have your strategy sorted. Are you broadcast TV or are you two-way TV? If you don't do these things, you'll find that you're going to run into problems. You won't get any engagement. You won't get people that are coming on board. When you do, people are going to love the event more. They'll sign up for next year. They'll tell all their friends, and it'll be one of the best events in the industry. If you want to find out more about some fun event stuff, hey, head on over to Making Events Awesome. It's a Facebook group where we hang out and talk about things. Nothing to sell. We just chat about events and making them awesome. How good is that? All right, thanks for joining me. I'm a bit early this week for a whole range of reasons that you don't really care about. I'll be back again next week at 9 a.m. on a Thursday for the Making Events Awesome live stream. Thanks so much for being here. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to chat about. Otherwise, I will waffle on. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Just doing the post live stream dance. This things sort of chop off really quick.